welcome back. Um, Christmas in December was a little bit of a gong show. I got sick for pretty much half of the month, and I was even training for a little bit there because of that. So we're back to our regularly scheduled videos every week. I made it a goal of mine for this year to put out a video every week, ideally on Mondays. So if you're paying attention, watching, it will be every week now. We're back to it. We're full swing. Obviously, unless I get sick, God forbid, probably won't be a video. But if things are smooth sailing, there will be a video. Anyways, today's topic, I feel like it would be fitting to go over a few things that I wish that I knew when I got into training. Because it's the new year. There's a lot of new people getting into the gym or coming back to the gym after a while. Um, and sometimes it's just good to have a reminder of, um, you know, the things that really, really do matter that can make a big difference in your training. And regardless of whether you're brand new or you've been in it for a while, it's important to look at these things. It's even a good reminder for myself. I've been training for just over 10 years now. And yeah, sometimes you need the reminders of what really matters in the gym. So let's get into it. Big part of what I want to talk about today was make like when you get into the gym, you start to make progress pretty quickly, and that's awesome. You start to feel really strong, um, and that's huge. That's what keeps people in the gym and going, especially at the start. And that's important to ride that high and feel good about it, because sometimes the gym is just such a positive outlet for a lot of people that feeling strong is one of the best feelings at the end of the day. So, with that being said, just because you're not PRing every single week and you're not putting more weight on the bar, the machine, the stack, heavier dumbbell every single week does not mean you're not getting stronger, does not mean you're not getting better. There are a lot of different things that you do need to look at when it comes to strength or making progress or putting on muscle, because those are two very different things. Training for strength, training to build muscle, they do cross over. They do go hand in hand. That is important to know and make light of, because people do tend to get that confused. But we're going to keep it in the middle ground, and we're going to talk about both because this is applicable to both. So just because you're not going heavier, whether it's a barbell or whether it's, let's say, on the cable stack, sometimes you need to look at, okay, is my range of motion better? Is my am I taking less rest times in between sets? Did I do one or two or three more reps? Did I do an extra set at the same working weight that I had last week or a couple weeks ago? Those are all things that need to be looked at too. Of just because you're not looking at maximal strength does not mean that's not progress. Or just because your biceps aren't 2 inches bigger in a couple months of training does not mean you're not getting bigger or you're not putting on more muscle. Because muscle takes a lot of time to put on. Strength takes a long time to gain, especially if you want consistent strength. Um, that's a huge thing. So there are a lot of factors to look at too when it comes down to progress. And if you feel like you've hit, I hate to use this word because it's so overused, but if you hit a plateau, um, there are those things to look at of, okay, just because I didn't go heavier, how many more reps did I do? And then maybe for some of you, you might need to dial back to maybe 70 to 80% of what you were working with and focus on your control of each rep, focus on your range of motion, focus on your movement pattern, and just building a little bit more volume. And next thing you know, you're going to skyrocket. Which leads me into my next thing that I wish I knew getting into the gym. That is recovery and how important your recovery is. And it sounds, when I say it, it sounds like one of those things that it should be maybe common knowledge of, like, yeah, of course, you need to recover. But what is recovery? What does that look like? And how do your everyday habits tie into your recovery? That's something to look at. So, big one is your sleep. That's number one. Number two, it's your nutrition. Number three, hydration. I ordered those in terms of like how I prioritize them. Not that I necessarily think one is more important than the other, but sleep is one of those things. When you learn, the more you learn about sleep, the more you learn that when you lack sleep, everything else goes to shit. That's going to mean your nutrition. That's going to mean, your hydration. You're going to get more cravings for foods that may not serve you very well. You're going to not be able to cognitively function as well. You're not going to be able to perform as well in the gym. Your central nervous system is more likely to fatigue. So then your output in the gym is going to go downhill. And we don't want that. So I put sleep as number one because it really does affect everything. And then your nutrition. How much protein are you getting in per day? How many carbs are you getting in per day? Because carbs are important. Carbs are important for recovery, for performance in the gym, for building muscle. We need them as much as fitness culture throughout time has said carbs make you fat. Stay away from carbs. Those are likely not the people to listen to, because you do need carbs to perform and to feel good. Obviously, yes, what kind of carbs matters. Not saying eat Pop Tarts, but your rice, your vegetables, your fruit, your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, things like that. Those are the carbs that we're talking about here. Um, and yeah, your hydration, and not just looking at how much plain water you're getting in per day, but how much electrolytes you're getting in. So your salt, your magnesium, your potassium, like things like that are all important for hydration too. So those are things to look at, and it all ties into your recovery. However, if you're new to the gym, don't stress about like the nitty gritty things just yet. That's something that you can look at down the road. But if you feel like you have a pretty solid routine in the gym, you're making some progress, but you're like, hey, I want to do better. Those are certainly things to look at, especially as you get into the gym a little bit more and more consistently. But I encourage everyone to look at those just so they can understand how important it is and how much it does affect um, your progress and your recovery and just your overall well-being. It's not, even if you don't tie it to the gym, it's still your overall well-being. At the end of the day, for most people, this is for health. And it certainly helps. I know for myself, it's really helped to look at those things too. Even again, 10 years into training, sometimes I need that reminder of like, focus on my electrolytes, or oh, I've been slacking on my vitamins, or oh, I haven't been eating as much fruit or vegetables lately, or um, you know all those things. My sleep hasn't been too good. So those are the big ones. Next up is a big one for a lot of people, especially even people who have been in the gym for a long time. um, is just because you're not incredibly sore or even sore in general after a workout does not mean you didn't work hard. Soreness is an indicator of you pushed it really hard and you tore a lot of muscle fibers and they broke down pretty hard to the point where your body's like, hey, no more. I need to recover now. Hence the last topic. Recovery is important. If you're new to the gym or you're coming back to the gym after a long time, you haven't pushed it in a while, you're going to be pretty sore. That's normal, especially in your first like 1 to 2 weeks, especially. That soreness is normal. Or if you're doing a completely new exercise that you haven't done ever or in a long time, that's just normal. Like you're going to be sore. However, if you're trying to bring yourself to the point of being sore or extremely sore every workout, you're going to burn out pretty quickly. And that's just a sign that you are running your body into the ground and you are, I don't, I don't want to say overtraining, but you're under recovering. You're probably not eating enough protein. You're maybe not getting enough sleep. Those are huge factors in that. So if you're trying to get sore every single training session, it will take some mental maturity, I guess I should say, to really work around, okay, just because I'm not sore doesn't mean I didn't work hard. You'll actually find after your first initial couple weeks getting into training or into a program or whatever it might be, you're just going to feel like, you might have a little bit more in the tank. Like maybe you could have pushed it a little bit more. And that's where you should be, because that is how you recover, and your progress comes from your recovery. Like, yes, you have to work hard in order to need to recover from something. But after that, the progress comes from how effective your recovery is, right? So looking at that, soreness is not the indicator of, oh yeah, I had a really good workout. Like, it feels good to be sore sometimes. Like, I had a back day yesterday, and I feel like a little bit of soreness in my back. I'm like, okay, that feels good, because for me, I typically don't get very sore in my back. So sometimes it's just reassuring to have that feeling of like, okay, like I feel it, it's there, we hit it, great. But if you're trying to starch yourself every session, you need to rewire that mindset. Otherwise, you're not going to be in the gym for very long. You're either going to get injured, you're going to get burnt out, or it's going to be a mental hurdle of like, when life is stressful, you're like, oh, I can't run myself into the ground today in the gym because I'm just really not up to it. You're just mentally, you're going to burn out. And we don't want that. We want you in the gym for a long time. We want you to be healthy. So those are some big things to look at. Because when I was when I was first getting into training, I was like, I got to be balls to the wall all the time. Keep in mind, I was 16 when I got into the gym. So going ham was the thing, where there's a time and place, but that's not where you get better. You get better over progressively overloading over a long, consistent amount of time with consistent effort. If you can't keep your effort consistent, you're going to be all over the place, especially if your recovery is not on par with the effort that you're putting in. So with that being said, is have a goal in mind when you're in the gym. Don't get me wrong, there's certainly a time and place to, like, I just need to get to the gym and I need to move and I need to, let out some energy. It's a fantastic outlet. But, when you're in the gym consistently, you don't want to be wasting your time. You want to get the most out of it, right? And how we do that is by setting a goal. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be, um, 5 years down the line kind of goal, like it's going to take me a long time, but just something of like, hey, I want to work on my biceps. I want to make sure I'm getting the best bicep workout that I can, or I am getting the most out of my chest exercises, or I'm moving as well as I possibly can, or I want to get to a 200, 300, 400 pound squat, like that kind of thing. Um, just have something to work towards, so that way you have some structure going into it. If you don't have a program, you don't have a coach, you don't have a trainer, something like that. So for me, when I got into training, especially my first couple of years, like, I was between martial arts, but I was also between strength training, and my goals were not super precise, outside of like a number on the bar, which is okay to have. Like, that's, like, don't get me wrong, that's great. But for me, that led me to just 100% every workout, which, again, like we discussed, that can only get you so far, right? So with that being said, have a specific goal and designate your program around that goal. Um, whether that's for upper body, lower, you can have a couple of goals. You know what I mean? Like, just have something that keeps you in that bit of structure and keeps you accountable to, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm focusing on my movement quality. This is why I'm focusing on my sleep. I know for myself personally, if I don't have something I'm working towards, I kind of just like go into limbo and I'm like, I don't care as much. So I need something to work towards. I need something that I'm chipping away at. Otherwise, if I don't have a reason for what I'm doing, I'm kind of just, I don't care as much. That's me personally. That's what's worked for me. But again, these are things that I wish I knew getting into the gym. So if that's helpful to you, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a subscription, or reach out to me if you'd like. Shoot me a message. Let's talk about training. Even if you're not like, I want to hire a coach, that's okay. Ask questions. I love talking about this stuff. I love helping people out, answering questions, and just giving you some advice that could be helpful in your next training session. Because really, at the end of the day, like that's what this is about, and that's what this channel is for. I'm not out here just trying to gain clients left, right, and center, as awesome as that is, but like I just want to help people. So feel free to ask questions. That's what I'm here for. So happy New Year, everybody. If you're new to the gym, new to the channel, welcome. Awesome to have you here. Stick around. I'm going to be putting out videos, like I said at the beginning, every Monday now because I'm back full swing. So, yeah, let's start off the new year strong and get after it.